Hey everyone, let's talk about beta readers. We know that beta readers are incredibly important because these are the people who read your book before it goes to professional editing to tell you if there are plot holes or if things don't make sense or if you need to up your game or add in some certain things. Beta readers are amazing for getting feedback from your book, and this is the first step you take before you have a professional editor or before you query. So when you are doing the writing process, you obviously write your books first, and then you are going to jump into self-editing. Then you're going to send it off to your beta readers who are going to read through it. And I usually recommend you have about 3 beta readers. Especially in your early years, you want to make sure that you are checking out other people's opinions and other people's thoughts. But here's some things you need to know about beta readers. First off, they can't be your mom, your best friend. They can't be your school friends. They cannot be your aunt who is an English teacher. It's got to be somebody who kind of really understands your particular genre. So you should be looking for people who are well read in the genre that you write in and are involved inside of the book world, not just people who are going to be nice to you. Yes, your friends and family are going to want to read your book, but you don't necessarily need to jump right into working with them because that's not actually going to help you if they're not well read in the genre. They don't understand the tropes and the things that are expected within the industry. So you're going to have to find some beta readers, and then when you get your notes back from them, you're going to have to take into consideration what they've said, and then do some more self-editing. Now, some things that they say you will do and take into consideration with what you're working on, and some things maybe you don't need to worry about. This is going to be very different than working with a professional editor who really truly knows what they're talking about and will be getting you on the right path and the right track for your book. So you do need to strongly listen to your professional editor, but beta readers can give you lots of different opinions, and you kind of listen for those overarching themes that your beta readers are actually suggesting to you, and then working that into or out of what you've already written to up your game before you send it to either a professional editor or to your publisher or to your agent. Now, if you've got questions about beta readers and how to find them, please hit me up now. I see you guys are jumping on and joining me here on TikTok, but I am going to be giving you a little bit more information on how the beta reader process works. So you want to make sure that you find people who are well-read within the genre and really understand what you are to expect within that particular part of the industry. Now, you want to kind of take a cautious, especially if you don't necessarily know the beta readers as well, and you want to work out a system. So you want to make sure you clearly communicate what you expect them to return to you. So is it just some opinions? Is it like notes? Should they be typing inside of the Word document in the track changes? Or should they just be giving you kind of like, here's the sentence I didn't like, here's what I think you should do with it. You got to be very, very clear on what type of feedback you want from them and when you expect it by. Because if somebody can't hold up their end of the beta reader bargain, you probably don't want to work with those people. So if it's going to take them 2 months to get notes back to you, don't do that one. If it's somebody who can get it back within 2 weeks, that's probably a better fit for you. So you want to make sure that you are very clear and upfront with what you expect. Now, if you don't feel super comfortable with them or you want to test it out first, you can always send 1 to 3 chapters and say, here's the beginning of it. Could you please let me know your thoughts on this? This is kind of what I'm looking for in terms of feedback, and see how it goes. And if you like working with them, give them more. Let them read more of your book and let them give you more good qualified feedback. And if you don't, that's okay. That's all you had for them right now, right? Makes sense. Now, when it comes to beta readers, there are a lot of places that you can be finding beta readers. Social media is usually the best place. I get a lot of people who come to me, especially here on TikTok, and they ask me to read their book. And as an author, and as a human, I can't read hundreds of books for hundreds of people. It's just not something I can physically do. And authors in general can't do that because we get so many requests every single day. So you do have to be responsible for finding your own beta readers, and usually you want to work with somebody on your level. So if you're just jumping into the world of becoming a writer, you are going to want to find people who are also just jumping into the world of becoming an author. Team up with these people. Find a group of about maybe 5 people and trade manuscripts. I would not recommend going more than 5. I would say 3 to 5 is probably good for you. You definitely want 3 opinions on your book, and then up to 5 is great. More than that, you're going to have a lot of books you have to read, which gets into author territory where people are asking you to read books for them and you just can't do it because you don't have time. So if you have more than 5, that's going to make it really, really hard for them to read your book and 4 other people's books, and for you to then read a bunch of other books as well. So keep it kind of narrowed down. You don't want to be reading a million books, and you don't want a million opinions putting their hands inside of your book. Like they say, too many chefs in the kitchen ruins the meal, right? So you want to make sure that you keep it to a nice small group of people that you trust. Now, like I said, social media is a great place for you to be finding beta readers. And if you've got questions on this, I see you guys are here jumping in. Go ahead and let me know your beta reader questions down below. I would love to get those answered for you. But social media, especially Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, even here on TikTok, will be a great place for you to find beta readers. So look for other people, again, who are other writers who are going to be able to add valuable insight into your book, not just somebody who wants to read it because it sounds cool. Even though that's nice, that's not really going to help you. So you want people who are studying the industry to get into the industry to learn the tropes. So find people who are writing in your same genre, which P.S., when your book is published and their book is published, you've already made friends with these people and you can cross-promote if you're in the same genre. Light bulb moment right there. So you want to make sure that you are finding really good beta readers to work with. And again, if you're not sure, test. Send 1 chapter, send another chapter, send 3 chapters. Do a little bit at a time to make sure you're getting the feedback that you want and that you feel comfortable working with that person. Now, I know one of the big things that people say, especially who are brand new in this industry, the things that they say a lot are, I'm worried about somebody stealing my manuscript. That's really not much of a concern. There are tons and tons of ways to write a book. So even if they steal the same idea, even if they have the same idea, it's going to be really different. So let's just back up for a second. I have a book that is a Cinderella assassin retelling. And I met a lady who wrote a Cinderella assassin retelling after I did. And then I met another lady who wrote a Cinderella assassin retelling after I did. There's several of us out there, and our books are so entirely different. Same concept, but really different books, different characters, different settings, different everything. So you're really not going to get people stealing your book. There's probably like maybe 1 or 2 people out in the world that might consider doing something weird like that, but you really don't have to worry about that. By the time they actually write your story or deal with your story, you can, prove that you wrote it first, which is not going to be a big deal. But you're probably already at that point where you are either publishing your book or you are going to have an agent, you're going to have a publisher, something that kind of protects you. So you really don't need to worry about that too much, but if you do, again, send 1 to 3 chapters and figure out if you like working with them. Send them little chunks at a time. There are ways to get around it. But find really good qualified people and make a friend group and then work together to actually do some trade-off beta reading, and do not go to your author friends who are already established in the industry, because we just don't have time right now. And we would love to support you. I mean, for me specifically, because I can speak for myself, I don't have time to read everyone's books. I wish I could, but I can't. But I will be here to support you when your book comes out. Yes, I will tell my fans about it if I think it's going to be a good fit for them. And yes, I will be there to support you and send you all the love as you are getting your book out into the world. I just can't do the editing process for you because hundreds of you ask. So make sure that you are actually working with a great team of people, and then trade off so that you're all getting the same type of responsibilities. You're all reading each other's books. You're all getting feedback. Everybody's benefiting from their relationship. Best advice I can give you. And if you've got questions on beta readers, please go ahead and hit those up. I see some questions are going to come in, so I am going to go ahead and I'm going to get those answered as my text messages come scrolling in if you're watching the replay on YouTube. Sorry. All right. Okay. So is posting teasers of my book on Wattpad a bad idea? Yes, it is. That's not going to help you. First off, Wattpad is not an edited place. I know a couple of people have gotten book deals off of Wattpad, but that was back in the day. That's not a thing really so much anymore. And especially if you're trying to get into a traditionally published world, they don't want things that are already out in the world that they can't control. So if you're trying to get a professional, traditional, which is what I was trying to say, the traditional contract, that is going to dramatically hurt your chances of getting a book deal. If you are just kind of teasing it and you're going to go into the indie world, you can kind of build up a fandom, but here's the thing. When it comes to Wattpad, people are just reading for free, and they will not pay for your book. There are a number of authors who have tried. I've even tried putting some of my free books, or at least samples of my free books, on Wattpad, and you know what happens? I build up a following there who refuses to pay for my books. They just don't want it. They only want the free content, and then they get mad if you actually publish a book and it's something that they have to pay for. So building up a following on Wattpad, doesn't help you at all in any really way, shape, or form. And if you've already got your content out there, unless you have millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of reads, and it was like 4 years ago, they're not going to pick you up in the traditional world. That's just the way it is. So no, you should not be doing Wattpad if you want to have your book published. If you're just like writing for fun, if you're just like trying to hang out with people, sure, go for it. But if you're trying to get into the world professionally, Wattpad's not the place. Okay. Let's see, what else we got? I'm writing a book. Yay, congratulations, that's exciting. I haven't gotten very far yet, but I'm really happy with it and I want to finish it. Well, congratulations, that is a great feat. I'm glad that you are jumping into it. Stick with it. Speaking of which, there are some really cool things out there that help you with the accountability of that. You can do things like Nanowrimo, which is National Novel Writing Month. I'm hanging out with a brand new company that just reached out to me a couple of weeks ago, and we're working on a project together. It's actually not something I'm allowed to talk about yet, but if you are a writer who's trying to get some cool feedback from a best-selling author and some award-winning authors and like all sorts of really cool, fabulous things, you should probably pay attention to what I'm doing because I'm about to do cool things in the next month or so, and I'll be able to tell you then, but stay tuned. But there is a company that I am kind of hanging out with, doing some affiliate stuff with, that it actually gives some daily help with your writing, and I'll tell you more about that because I don't have the link for you just yet. I still have to whip that up. But stay tuned because I'm actually going to do a live stream here on TikTok about that particular company and what they do and how you can benefit from that. So stay tuned because that's going to help you out. What's a good time frame to get a manuscript completed? Oh, that is a loaded question. So when it comes to your manuscript, I do recommend that you are working on it consistently. Some people are slow writers, some people are fast writers. For me personally, I get a full-length novel done in 9.5 days. It's a little bit crazy, but I can do it around my work. Like I can run my 3 businesses and then write a full-length novel in 9.5 days. Most people can't do that, so please don't think that's a thing. Most authors look around a couple of months to write a book. I do recommend getting books out as quickly as possible so that you can make money and keep your fans happy and well-read. But not everybody does that, so you really have to figure out what's going to work for you. If you're taking over a year to write a book, you're doing something wrong. And it probably means that you are one of those people that didn't plot your book and keeps going back to fix old scenes instead of moving forward. I know so many people who are stuck on one scene because they don't know where to go next or what to say next or what to do next, or they just aren't happy with a previous scene and they just keep going back and fixing it. And 4 or 5 years later, they're still working on that one book. If that's you, you need to change the way that you're writing. Plot your book out instead of pants it, and then move forward with that, and then revise in editing. So always move forward. Even if you're not super happy with it, even if you think you can make it better, you can do that in editing. Just get the dang book written, and then fix it before you do anything real with it. But get it written, get from beginning to end done, and then move forward. Typically, for most authors, you're looking at a couple months to write a good quality book that they can then send to either a professional editor or that they can then shop around to agents and or publishers. But it just depends on how fast you're writing, how much time and effort you're putting into it. For me, I tell people you absolutely need to be working on it consistently. So it doesn't matter how fast or how slow you're writing. It matters how much effort you're putting into it. So whether it is 500 words a day, or it's 2,000 words a day, or it's 7,000 words a day, or it's something like 1 hour every day, or half an hour every day, or 2 hours every day. Make a schedule for yourself, figure it out, and then try to get it around the same time. So from 7 to 8 o'clock in the evenings, you are writing, and that's all you're doing. Train yourself to sit down and write at those specific times for that specific length or that specific word count, and every single time you sit down to do it, you're going to be able to move forward and move forward and move forward, and you're not going to deal with writer's block nearly as much or at all if you train yourself to be disciplined, to sit down when you're at your computer at that time, in that place, whatever. You're gonna have to write, and your brain already knows it's gonna get itself into gear, and you're gonna save yourself a lot of time and stress. So come up with a schedule for yourself, and then just do it consistently until you are done. Whatever works for you, as long as you're getting the work done. All right, scrolling back up. If I finish it, I would love to publish it, but I don't know how to find a publisher. I have tons of info on youtube.com/KMRobinsonBooks. We're answering all the publishing questions over there, and we're breaking down everything that you need to know. I also know a lot of the publishers. I know a lot of agents. I know a lot of publishers, and I know a lot of the indie world, so I typically help as many people as possible in whatever way I possibly can. So if you've got specific questions, please feel free to send those in, and I will get those answered in YouTube videos and on live streams just like this. Oops, that jumped on me. What did that say? I'm so happy to find someone like you to explain things like that. Oh, well, I'm happy to help. Any questions that you have, if you have specific questions, please go ahead and drop them now. I'd love to get those answered for you. And I also do live streams on YouTube and on Instagram and on Facebook. And we answer questions on our YouTube channel, my YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/KMRobinsonBooks. You can come check that out. You can leave your questions here. You can DM your questions to me. You can leave questions on any of my videos. It doesn't even have to be on topic. Feel free to just drop your questions there and I'll happily answer those for you. I will answer them in TikTok form if the answer is short enough, because you know they give us that really short limit. But if it's not, full YouTube video coming, all I'm gonna say. And in my newsletter, I also give exclusive things over on my newsletter too. So it's newsletter.kmrobinsonbooks.com. You can just hit up my website that has all that information on there as well. Okay, continuing on. What kind of books do you write? I am young adult sci-fi fantasy. I specialize, well, all my books have romance in them. Strong romance, lots of swooning romance, like my fans scream and freak out over the romance. But I write a lot of retellings, so a lot of twisted fairy tales, nursery rhymes, legends, lore, mythologies, all those things. I write a lot of dystopians. I do sci-fi and fantasy. I've got mermaid books, steampunk, cyberpunk, all those fun fabulous things. So I have over 24 published books. I've got 4 of them free in ebook form right now. If you search K.M. Robinson, that's K.M.Robinson on any of the book buying platforms, you're going to find all of my books, and you will find those freebies over there as well. Is word count really that important? Okay, so I would need to know, do you mean in books or do you mean in how you're writing? So when it comes to books, is your word count important when you're writing? Yeah, 100%. There are genre-specific word counts, and if you don't have them, people aren't going to read your books. There is a difference between a full-length novel, a novelette. No, I messed that up. It's a novel, which is bigger, a novella, which is like a short story, and a novelette, which is like a very short story. So there are specific word counts that go for each of them, and they vary from genre to genre. So young adult is going to be very different than adult. Science fiction young adult is going to be different than fantasy young adult. So you have to learn what they're looking for. Now, if you are going for a traditional publishing contract, each publisher or each agent will require a different word count. You must do your research, and if your book does not meet those standards, they're not going to accept you. So make sure you hit that word count. But yeah, people do expect certain things. Now, that doesn't mean your book cannot sell if it's too short or too long. If it is too long, I definitely recommend that you are chopping it up and making it a series. If it is too short, don't call it a novel. Call it a novella. Call it a novelette, whichever one happens to fit in, and then market it that way. And in fact, short stories like novelettes are actually doing really well right now in serialized form. So a collection, a series of short stories with installments every 2 weeks are selling really, really well in the market right now. Great example is my friend Sarah K.L. Wilson. She's got some really cool dragon stories that she does in novella serialized form. Make sure you check her out. And there's some other cool people doing that as well. In fact, I may have some things. All I'm saying. So definitely pay attention to your word count. That matters. If you're talking about word count in terms of your daily writing life, yeah, you either need to pick a word count or you need to pick a time. Whichever way, you have to have a limit, a goal, set it, and then handle it every single day. Doesn't matter which, if it's a word count or if it's a time, figure it out yourself, whatever works best for you. If you need 500 words a day, if you need 2,000 words a day, there you go. Or if you don't want to do word count, you can do time, which I typically for me, I would sway more toward the time limit. Like I would want to write for a specific amount of time and see how much I can get in there and then bump that up and up and up and up as I go so that I'm writing more and more words. All right. What's the best way to come up with an idea for your book? Oh, my friend, when it comes to creating book ideas, it really is a personal thing. For me, I get inspiration from the things I see around me. So like I wrote an entire book based off of a bridge that I used to drive over. It just stuck in my mind. I have written entire books based off of a background element I saw in a movie trailer while I was in a movie theater to see another movie. It was just like this in the obscure, in the background thing, and I wrote a whole book because it inspired me. Music can inspire you, art, fan art, the cosplayers here can inspire you. social media can inspire you. There's so many ways that you can do it. What I do recommend is having a note on your phone, so it's always with you, it's inside of your phone, and keep track of lines that you think of that you like, or character names that you like, character descriptions that you like, or the things that are grabbing your attention that might make for a good story. Write it down, and then pull it out when you need it. Where can you find legitimate editors for your books? Haha, that's a fun one. A lot of people can say that they are editors and then not be professional. I have worked with a lot of people who have claimed to be professional and were not. In fact, I had one book go through five editors because people said, I've worked with this publishing house and I've worked with this publishing house, I've worked with this people and all of these things, and then they didn't do the work and they didn't do the corrections. And so when I edited my book based off of their notes and turned it back into my publisher, they freaked out because there were still a lot of things that they didn't catch. So you have to make sure that you are working with somebody who's professional. So you're looking for people who have had past clients. You are looking for people who can give you really good examples of their work and have worked with people that you know and trust. If you don't know them, go to them and see how their work is. Look for the books that they've edited. Pick them up, get them from Amazon, download them from iBooks, whatever you gotta do, and then read to see if there are errors. If you're catching errors, that's not someone you should be working with. You can find editors like on social media, so there are some Facebook groups that you could look at for those. I do recommend getting into author Facebook groups and then asking who they work with. Getting recommendations from other authors is really, really, really important. I cannot tell you about my editor because she only edits for me. She doesn't take on other clients, so I can't like give her to you. I wish I could, but I cannot. But there are lots of them out there. You can check out things like Reedsy. There are different websites and things that you can find them on. I wouldn't recommend going to Fiverr. Don't do that. It's not going to work to your benefit. But definitely get into author groups and then ask who has availability right now, who do you recommend, who do you typically work with, and look for genre-specific editors. So don't just swing into an author group and say, hey, I need an editor, and then have like somebody who's not in your genre recommend somebody and then that person doesn't really work with your genre. That's not going to help. They need to know the tropes, they need to know the trends, they need to know what's going on inside of the industry right now that makes for good editors and what they're doing inside of your book. Because they're going to be looking for things that are problematic and things that you should be adding in and all those things. So get in there and say, I've written this genre, this age group, these type of things. I need editor recommendations, and then research them from there. Okay. Do you have anything on Amazon? Yeah, everything's on Amazon. All of my books are on all the buying platforms. So Amazon, iBooks, Kobo, Barnes & Noble, like all of them. If there's a book buying platform, my books are there. And they are in ebook and paperback, and the full-length novels are also in hardcover. So, like, tons of them there. You've got all of them. Just go search me, k.m.robinson, for that. You can search me anywhere. Sometimes they don't like the periods in there, so just try KM space Robinson. If that doesn't work, let me know. You can go to my website. I got links for things. You're good. How many pages would you say is the perfect amount for a chapter? Okay, so this is going to vary from genre to genre, and authors don't deal in page numbers. This is a pro tip for you guys who are getting into the author world. We do not deal in page numbers because page numbers change depending on the size font, the spacing, all those things. So that is an irrelevant type of measuring. We deal in word count. So the number of words on each page, in each chapter, they're all going to vary based on, things. I'm going to tell you this straight. My longest book looks like it's not my longest book because the publisher, condensed it so that they didn't have to pay as much to publish the book. So my longest book looks shorter than some of my shorter books just because of how they did it. So word count is what you're looking for here. And that, again, is going to vary from genre to genre, so you actually have to look it up. I would have to know what your genre is to weigh into that. Someone may or may not be here. I don't know. I don't know what time it is. Let's see. You're welcome. You are welcome. Hey guys, if you're just jumping in, we're answering questions on beta readers or the publishing industry. Like I said, I don't know what time it is. I may have people showing up. Who knows? Somebody tell me what time it is. But But we are talking all about beta readers and how you can be finding people to read your book before you send it to professional editing or to an agent or to a publishing house. So I highly recommend that you find a really good group of friends to beta read for you. I've got some really cool people who are beta reading for me. And as you progress in your author journey, you're going to learn a lot of your hang-ups and you're going to be able to fix them yourself, so you're not going to need as many beta readers or as many eyes on that to give you advice. You're also going to learn who works really, really well with you and catches you and calls you out on the things that you're doing that you shouldn't be doing. Like if you have or if you're known for forgetting a word or for switching tenses or if you're known for forgetting commas, they will call you on it. Those are the people you want. Is there a specific program I should write on? No, you can write on whatever you want. I use Word, and I have 3 documents up on my screen. My documents are the document I'm writing on, notes, so I keep like a running timeline of what's happening. I write the chapter, the page number that it's on in the Word doc, and then bullet points of what's happening, and then I've got character descriptions, and anytime I add in a new feature, a new catchphrase, something I need to know, some type of familial connection, I write it down on my character notes so that they're already there and I'm ready to go should I need to refer back to them. Some people write in Scrivener, some people write in Google Docs. There's all sorts of things that you can be doing. It really just comes down to what feels the most comfortable for you. And if you need tools and resources, you can go to my website because I got things for you. Hey guys, thanks so much for joining. We are going to wrap up in the next minute or two, so I will stick around for just a couple more minutes. If you've got questions on the author world, feel free to hit me up, or let's talk about my books. I'm happy to chat about any of those fun, fabulous things. You can see that I've got my office kind of set up. I did just move 8 hours south of where I was, and this isn't even my last stop. I'm just here temporarily, but I am setting up my office, so we've got some of the shelves set up. This is actually a great big giant wall with a ton of different bookshelves. This is just a tiny little section, so I'm finishing up with the decor on these, and I've got another entire wall behind my computer where I am doing some really cool live streaming things for you as well, but I kind of tore that one apart to set this one up, so fixing that. We're working on that one. But soon I will be showing you the grand tour of the really cool new office space that I have. It's actually a really big room and there's really cool things. And I've got some bonus backgrounds I will be showing you as well, because while I'm here I got some cool things going on. So we've got some exciting things, not just inside of the book world, but in the fun behind the scenes of the book world that we're doing as well. Alright friends, I'm seeing more questions come in. Okay. Alright, real quick, let me go ahead and do that. Do I have any tips on writing? I'm loving writing at the moment, but some days I just can't get motivated. Okay, here's your swift kick in the pants. If you want to get into the writing world as a professional, if you want to make money on this, if you want to become Book Talk famous, you have to do the work and you have to treat it like a real job. So you don't get to say, oh, I have writer's block. You don't get to say, oh, I don't feel like writing today. You don't get to say, oh, I don't feel inspired today, or I don't know what to do today, or I'm not going to do this, or I'm going to get busy. If you're going to use this as a business, you have to treat it like a business. So you have to actually show up and do the work. Just like a chef has to show up to the restaurant and actually do the cooking, even if they don't want to. Just like a teacher has to show up to school and actually do the teaching, even if they don't want to. You as a writer have to do it. You have to have the discipline to do it, which means you have to train yourself to do it. And there's no way around it. If you're going to be lazy about it, you're never going to get it done. Or if you're going to be halfway about it, you're never going to get it done. Or if you're going to be uncertain about it, you're never going to get it done. And that's fine. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do any of this. That's totally okay. It's okay to write for yourself and just write when you feel like it. Just be aware it's not going to be a job. It's not going to be your business. You're not going to make money off of it. So you just have to sit down and you have to do the work. And that doesn't mean you have to do it every single day. Come up with a schedule. Do it 5 days a week. Do an hour for 5 days a week until you're done. That's fine. That's not a problem. If you're struggling with what to write next, you're probably a pantser, which means you don't know where you're going next, which can make it really hard. So new writers need to be plotters. You really, really, truly do. Very, very few people in the beginning stages of this are able to pants their book from the start. So learn to plot your book, come up with every single step, and then you're going to know exactly where you're going, and it makes it so much easier to write when you sit down to write. You got to train yourself to be disciplined to do it, and if you don't want to do that, that's fine, but it's not a job, and just remember that. So don't get sad or upset when your book is not published, or when it's not written, when you're not making money off of it, when you're not getting tons and tons of fans. That's okay. It's just a choice you made. So if you want to do it and do it professionally, treat it like a job. And yeah, I became a best-selling author while working another job and running 3 full-time businesses. So if you're counting, that's 4 jobs and writing. And I did a lot of that. So you just gotta sit down and you gotta do it. You have to do it. You have to do it. There's no way around it. You gotta get it done if you want to do this professionally. How do you make a scene flow? I'm writing a fight scene right now and nothing seems to be flowing. Oh, okay. So when it comes to fight scenes, those are a little bit different than writing other scenes. So you have to do your research. If you're writing a fight scene and you don't know how to fight, learn. You have to get a professional and you have to talk to them. So get somebody who is a good reference for you. If you don't have somebody who does that particular type of fighting, get on YouTube. My Mulan book, I don't necessarily know martial arts. Like, there's a lot of things I can do. I'm very well versed in weaponry. I'm very well versed in, like, self-defense type stuff, but I don't really know martial arts. And so I had to get on YouTube, and I took bits and pieces of this and wrote it down. I did. I wrote multiple videos into it and just watched what they did and how they moved and how they flowed. And then you have to start mixing it with dialogue, and then you have to start mixing it with descriptions, and you have to start mixing it with like feeling words. So what are the sensations that they're going through? So you kind of have to like mix all those up together and then work with somebody who can help you. When I wrote my Little Red Riding Hood book, she is a circus aerialist, and I'm not an aerialist. Yes, I have done it. Yes, you have seen pictures and video of me doing it, but I'm not by any means a trained professional, and so I had to get somebody to mentor me through that and talk me through it and show me exactly how to do it. So you don't want to just focus on the logistics of it or like each movement. So you don't want to just describe what's happening in said fight scene. You want to make sure that you're giving their thoughts, their feelings, their opinions, the stuff they're seeing on the outside. So as somebody's going to like do something, as they're moving forward, as they're getting ready to protect themselves, there's other things happening. So you're getting those side scenes, the things they see in their peripheral vision, the things that they're hearing and picking up as they're going. Start describing those things and then flow through it. You do not want it to be too long or too short. If it's too long, people get bored. They don't want technical things. If it's too short, you glossed over it and you lost them. So you want to make sure it is, usually with a fight scene, if it's like a major fight scene, if there's a lot of physical stuff going on, you're going to be looking at a couple of pages of that. So a little chunk. You're getting a couple paragraphs in there. If it's not super big, just, hit the technical stuff and move on. Right? Makes sense. And if you feel like you're stumbling with it, it's not going quite well, get another set of eyes on it. Write your scene, get the technical stuff, start putting in some of that dialogue and some of those peripheral things that are going on, and then ask somebody, does it feel dry? Is it okay? Is it exciting enough? And you're going to want to ask them how to move forward with that. If you need good examples of fight scenes, please feel free to check out my Mulan Dragon Shifter book. That one has a lot of fighting in it, and it's going to really help you out. If you want just kind of like the technical side of how to flow with a scene of something that is a little more technical like that, you can take a look at Blood is Silent, my aerialist Little Red Riding Hood, which has a lot of aerialist acrobatic things going on. There's a lot of really good ways that you can kind of make sure that other things are coming into that so it's not just technical writing. Do you have any tips for showing character emotions? How do you write them without sounding cliche? Well, number one is don't use cliche things. The breath she didn't know she was holding, that is from the 90s. Please don't write that. And I will say that I wrote that, and my editor hardcore called me on that. It was not nice. Don't do that. If it sounds cliche, lose it. It needs to go. There are other ways to describe things. So if she's nervous, don't just say she's nervous. Like, what does that look like? Don't tell me, show me. What does that look like? So if somebody's nervous, what happens? They're probably gonna tighten up their jaw a little bit, right? Their eyes might get a little more narrow. They might concentrate a little bit more. What is this going to look like? What does their body look like? How do they react to things? Are they going to be breathing faster or slower? Are they going to slink back? Are their shoulders going to go forward? Are their shoulders going to go back? Are they going to be brave? Are they going to put on a good face? What are they going to do? Study theater. This is something that actually really helped me because back in high school, decade and a half ago, very long time ago, I took a theater class, and when I was in that theater class, one of our assignments was to like watch people and what they did. Now, because I was a book nerd, I was here for following people and like paying attention to what they do. So how do they react? What are they doing with things? How are their eyes going to look? How are their mouths going to look? How are they going to react? What are they going to say? What's their body going to do? How are we going to posture when we're around people? Start taking notes. Just like watch what people do. Because you can tell what a person's thinking just by watching their eyes. Let's be real. We live in the COVID area. We live in a world where masks are covering our faces. So how are we communicating emotions right now? Through our eyes. You can usually see when somebody's happy, sad, even if the rest of their face is covered. Now, I know we got those tricks to get the smize even when we're not happy, but think it through. Start watching people in your house. Start watching people on television. Start watching people in your neighborhood. How are they reacting to people? Get descriptive about it. And don't just tell. You gotta show us. Show us by their reactions. Show us by the way other people are reacting to them. Is somebody angry? What's their face gonna do? How's their body gonna be? Are they gonna have that stiff posture? Are they gonna be up a little bit higher? Are they gonna like stomp into the room and like be angry? What happens to the other people in that room? Y'all know when somebody angry walks into a room, right? Like, you can tell. So what do those people look like? What are those people reacting to? If you're doing a first-person narrative where you're kind of like talking as your character, you can display their emotions by what they're seeing other people do in reaction to how they're doing whatever. So kind of study those things, start taking notes, like write everything down, really, really focus on it. You can even sit in the mirror and like watch yourself. How are you changing your expression? How are you changing what you're doing? How are you like leaning in or leaning back out, standing away? Like, start taking notes. It's a really great way to do it. I'm glad that this is helpful to you. Do I have any advice on how to get out of a writing slump? Well, Emma, you just got to do it. If you are going to be treating this like a job, if you want to get paid to be an author, if you want to be a published professional author, you have to do it. Just like a chef still has to go to the restaurant and cook. Just like a teacher still has to go to the school and teach. Just like any occupation has to go and do the thing. It really comes down to learning to discipline yourself. So I recommend training yourself to sit down at the same time in the same place and write for a certain amount of time every single day. That's going to get you into the right mindset. It's going to help you avoid that writer's block and that slump that you're in. If you are still struggling with this, put your project aside. Maybe it's not a project for right now, and get a new project, even if it's small. Write a short story. Write a couple of scenes. Write a bonus scene. Write a scene from a different character's perspective in your book to kind of get a new angle on it. It doesn't have to be published. It doesn't have to be in your book. You can hang on to it until your book is published, and you can put it as a bonus scene, or you can just write for fun. Do something creative to get your mind in gear without maybe jeopardizing what you're already writing because you're not doing so well right now. If that doesn't work, do something else creative. If you are in that slump and you just can't get out of it and writing's not helping, go do something else creative. Pottery, photography, I don't care what you do, go do something creative. Make something. Go be creative. Go into your pool and have somebody take pictures of you with flowers around your hair. Be creative. That didn't go well. I knew that was going to happen too. Knocked my water over. Do something creative. Build a crown. Make a seashell crown. Do something. Do something creative. All right, friends. Now that I've dumped my water everywhere on my hardwood floor and my new book cart, I am going to go clean that up. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. We talked all about how to get beta readers to be working with your book. And this will be replayed over on YouTube. I will be back answering more questions soon. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. I do have some fun new TikToks coming out for you, so make sure you're commenting on the new TikToks. If you're not commenting, I don't know that you like it, and I'm just going to stop doing that kind of thing. So make sure you're commenting on all of my TikToks and all authors' TikToks. Help us out. Tell us what you like to see. Respond to us. React to us. Do duets with us. Chains with us. I'm giving you lots of opportunities to get involved in the book world here. Please duet me. Send me fan art, like something. Anything I can show off on Book Talk, please do. And thank you so much for all of your great questions. Feel free to leave questions in any of my videos. I will get those answered ASAP, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Until then, KMRobinsonBooks.com and at KMRobinsonBooks on all the social media platforms. See you then. Bye, friends.